Hola! So we're going to talk about cost allotment and setting up your gear set for an archer. So as an archer, you're a DPS class, and you focus on both attack and magic attack, which means that since you're DPS, your defense kind of suffers, but it's okay. So how you're going to set up your gear set is basically you're going to put all your cost into weapons and monsters first, and then defense. You get a class bonus for equipping bows and guns, and you get class bonuses for equipping hats and clothing. Now, you can equip armor and helms. It's fine. It's just you get a little bit more defense when you equip hats and clothing. And it's the same with weapons. You get a little bit more of a stat boost when you equip bows and guns. And then your monsters are usually green, because the majority of green monsters have attack and magic attack. So you see you don't have the defense like some of the other monsters have. So like yellow monsters, they have physical defense. However, since you're archer, you can basically use any monster to your advantage because, again, since you use attack and magic attack, all monsters are going to help you out. So magic monsters are just going to help your magic attack, and then physical monsters are going to help your physical attack. So don't just try and pigeonhole yourself to just green monsters. You can totally do what you want. Obviously, you see that I have majority of archer stat monsters, but it's not entire. But I mean, again, you can just do your own thing. So the bows you're gonna focus on are bows that are gonna help you out. So Fatal Testament is a skill that's gonna be able to, you're gonna be able to use, I'm gonna say probably forever, because they just help boost every skill. Well, every attack skill, I should say. So there's no like limitations to just whatever skills. This is a bow you can buy with legend medals, and it boosts these, which is what I've been using for over a year now. So it's a very good bow for me to have. And then if you're newer, this is going to be a really good bow. Bowgun of Aquar, or just any bow that has Heart of the Deadeye, because these are going to be your main skills to be using. I think there is very little bows that helped boost the fourth ring skills, which Imaginary Shot is actually a really good skill. And Burk Snipe is alright. Now there are some, like when I'm gonna say we probably will get the barbecue event, you're gonna want to take Burk Snipe, because there's these fire posses that we as an archer can't defeat without them being broken. So if you can bring Burk Snipe, it's just gonna help you defeat those little posses who happen to be brick walls. And yeah, so as archers, since our allotment is split between magic attack and physical attack, we are kind of weak against like golems and certain posses, and Burk Snipe will kind of help you break through that. But you won't really see very many archers using this because it's such a high cost, and the other moves are just better. So it's kind of better for us to rely on lancers to be able to break things for us. But like I said, like when the barbecue event comes along, you'll be seeing a lot more archers using Burk Snipe. But when there's events like Mobius or some of the higher levels in Grauta, I think it's called, where there's like golems, we just rely on lancers to break them for us. Wind of Courage is really going to help you out for guild battles if you're on the back line, because it just helps, you know, give you that boost. Okay. So those are the bows you want to equip. And then also you really want to put in your first slot so the first slot is going to have the highest chance to proc, and then the second slot, the second highest chance, the third slot, and so on. So you really want to put something in the first slot that you want to have, you know, to proc well. So I have this since I use these skills. You can always put in a Fatal Testament. Most of us put in like either this bow, or you'll see like the Phoenix bow. I think my guildmate might have that up front. Let me see. Yeah, see, so he has the Mithra bow, because that's a really good one to put in the front slot. So does he. And then, like, if you can get the Lucifer gun, you should put that up front as well, because the proc rate is kind of low, so if you put it anywhere else, it might have a hard time, like, ever procking. However, there are some bows that proc really well, and you can put wherever. So like this bow, which is used to attack the crystal with, this has a really high proc rate, so I put it just way back here because it didn't really matter where it went, to be honest. And then anything with a constant skill needs to be put in the very back, because it's constant, so it's always active. So throw it in the back, because you don't need to rely on the proc rate since it's just already there. And this is what you can get from the Yamato event, which is actually happening right now. And I think it's a pretty good skill. Some people think it's not that great, since you can see the stats, you know, are just okay. But I think skills and procs are more important than stats. So that's why I have that. And I think a majority of archers have it as well. But yeah, that's the event. The Yamato event is what's going on right now. And this is the event you'd have to grind to go get it. And the thing about the Yamato event, it's actually kind of better for you if you can spend gems on it, because like at the end you only get like a chance to get one medal, so it's kind of frustrating. But yeah, so this is where you buy it, and the first weapon you buy is 80, and then it gets higher, I think, to like 120 maybe. I could be very wrong because I forget. But yeah, these are all constant skills, so they can be very handy. But I already had the bow, and that's what we're talking about, is archers. Okay. And then for defense, what you want to keep in mind is that you're weak against soldiers, and soldiers have physical attack. So whenever you can, either get the Ignis's Blessed Mask or get the Ignis armor. It's really going to help you out. Again, just whenever you can. Don't like feel super pressure. Just, this is Ignis's ritual armor, because it nulls physical damage, so it can really help you have that defense against soldiers, because they are really strong against you. So I have that up front, because again, you want the best proc you have to go up front. And then the second one I have is magic damage down, and then this is physical, and then this is status, and then this is a constant skill. So again, constant skills go in the back. And this is a magic magic armor up. And it helps protect against magic damage. And the thing is, I have lots of physical damage down armors, so it kind of helps me to balance it out. this is, I'm wearing my light set, so you can see I have a bunch of light armor on right now. So up front on this one, I actually have null status ailments, and it's because I think it's really important to not get stunned or confused or blind. And then I have magic damage down right after that. And then I have another null status ailments because I'm really about not getting confused, y'all. And then here is another defense constant. So here's the thing about defense or just constant skills in general. You can only have 2 of... how am I going to word this? You can only have 2 of the same worded effect kick in. So even if you equip 4, if they all say defense constant effect skill or whatever, only 2 are going to be able to kick in. So you basically only want to equip the ones that you want to kick in, or else the game's just going to choose it randomly. So like, I had a guildmate who actually had like 2 EXP up armors on, and then like an HP armor on, and since they were worded, you know, similarly, when he went to go do an Angel Mean quest, the HP up armor kicked in, so he didn't get as much experience as he could have. So then he learned to take out that when he's doing experience quests. And then I'll show you that there's other worded ones as well. So you see this one says other... okay, so that's an opening skill. So here I have this defense constant skill, and then this defense constant skill, and that's it. And then I have defense opening skill, and you can only have 2 of these. So here's the other one. And then I have this, which is called other opening skill. So then you can also have 2 of these, in which I have a hat that accompanies it, and that's it. And for Colosseum, opening skills kick in every round. So this is where opening skills really get a chance to shine. So you can definitely try and play around with having opening skills. And these like doctors and nurses uniforms seem to, you can get them pretty easily in spawns. I have quite a few, so you can see that this has been infused and this has been infused. And I still have like a few others, and I'm just holding on to them. You know, I don't know why. Just because. Okay. So there's that, and again, you can see that all my defense constant skills and opening skills go to the very back. It doesn't matter which order they go in the back, they just need to go in the back. And then also, procs are actually more important than your stats. So really pay attention to what you're putting in there as well. So you see these little SRs and you might think, oh, they're not so strong, but their skills are actually really good. So I have a chance to prevent unison block, and I have a chance to prevent confusion, which is really good to be able to have. And then, you know, you kind of want to balance. Well, that's what I do. I balance them out. So, you know, I have physical and then magic and then physical. Well, I mean, I already kind of went over that. And what's great about these two is that they only cost 3 costs. So sometimes if you run out of cost, if you have, you know, cheaper stuff, so just always pay attention to items' skills as well. Like, this one. Like this one right here is null prohibit unison. So 13 is, you know, whatever, but it's a really good skill. So I've started and I'm keeping it. I'm obviously not really using it though, because I have like 2 things that just kind of have that within its own skill. Okay, so monsters, again, like I said, you're mainly going to be using green monsters. And green monsters usually have your archer stats. There are a few exceptions, so like Lamia is a yellow monster that has archer stats, and that's because it comes from an event that had that. And then we have Ushiwakamaru, who I want to say is the only non-event, non-collab monster who has archer stats. I could definitely be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is. He's also the only element monster that goes against class as well, because blue monsters are usually known as soldier monsters, because they're usually just defense and magic defense, and you can see he's attack and magic attack. Snowman came from an event, so he's attack, magic attack. This is a monster I won for an event, and I got to choose her stats, so of course I went with attack and magic attack because my main class is archer. And then Marrow comes from an event as well, and she had an opportunity to drop with different stat combinations, and luckily I got her to drop with archer stats. So that really helps me out. Sakuya is actually really good too because she's balanced. And she hits pretty hard, so if that event ever comes back, you can always try and get her. Alice is a really good monster now. I mean, she always was, because she hits, pretty good. And then she does slow people down. And there are certain event bosses, if you use her against them, they will slow down, and it can make the boss much easier to deal with. And now, of course, now that we have hidden potentials, that also helps a lot as well. Especially the curse resistance, because, when you're cursed, it makes it really hard for you to get healed. So, I think it's really good now to get as many Alices as you can and try to infuse her to at least get that curse resistance, So most of the monsters that kind of go against the green stats are going to be event monsters or a monster from collaborations. So I know like during the Face Day Night collab, there was the monster Archer, and he was a fire monster who had archer stats. So that was pretty rad, and I never got him, and I'm super sad. But it's okay, I like all my monsters. Let's see, what else? So obviously when you start off as an archer, your main skills are going to be hunt, this skill, and then the skill. Then you kind of got to work your way up before you can get to this circle. And this is actually going to really help you out a lot. But once you get over here, you're going to be in heaven, because none of these skills miss. And it's the best thing. We all know how much using these little skills and, that everything you use procs, and you finally get a proc, and then you just see miss, and you're just like, I'm the saddest archer ever. But no, not anymore. So, again, no, actually, so I already talked about Heart of the Deadeye, and then also the Jade Bow, or the Bowgun of Wintos, is actually pretty good to use too, because it procs World Tree Blessing, which when it gets to proc, it gives you 8s. So it's like if someone's trying to hit you, but they haven't been able to kill you yet, if that World Tree blesses you, then you get healed like a pretty good amount. So you see, for Coliseum, I actually put that up front because I want this to proc. And then I have this bow over here that also helps World Tree Blessing as well. And if you're newer, I wouldn't suggest you get this. This is something you can get with Legend Medals. I got this. I've been playing this game for a long time. So when I got this actually helped me out for a while. But if you're newer, you're going to be leveling up so fast that this is going to become too obsolete for you. And legend medals are kind of harder to get. So you should definitely, I would say, spend your legend medals on the armors. So I would really say to get either the Ignis armor or the helm first, and then get Voluta, either the crown or the attire. But yeah, focus on Ignis first, since it's the physical damage down, and then Voluta. So I have like 270 medals. When I get 300, I'm gonna get this guy. And I'll probably make it number 2, to be honest, because I'm all about having my null status helmets up front. And you can see my cost allotment right here. I have, you know, my monsters and weapons are pretty much the same allotment. You can see I have a 25 cost in there. And the thing is, equipping lower cost stuff makes it so you can equip more stuff. So yeah, you'll have 30 cost stuff, you know, the stats are high, but again, procs are more important than stats. So if you can have more procs, that can help you out. It's a balance though, like, obviously you still want to have some sort of stats. So, I mean, you'll be able to figure it out. Oh. Okay, so what else I also want to talk about is, so this game is geared towards elements. So you don't have to do this, but what I've done is I've made a set for every element. And so like this is my water set. So you see I have like 123 and then 6 attack. So what helps that is for defenses, like, what's it called? The neutral gear has 6s all across, and then element gear goes straight into that element. So when you're focusing on one element, you only want to put in that element plus neutral items, because if you put in any other item, it's going to take away from that. So you see I have like this light set on right now, and it's 128. If I want to go replace this with like a water item, you see that goes down to 122. So you really want to stick with neutral, because it's going to help your stats up as well. Okay, so only your defense items help your defenses. Your monsters do not go towards the element defense at all. It only goes towards attack. So my Neisha in here and Lamia only goes towards attack. If I had a blue monster, it would only go toward attack as well. I don't think I have it in my water. Yeah, they're all archer stat monsters. But like in this one, I have it right there, and you can see it helps right there. So I have a water bow and then a redder. So that's the 2 water element attack right there. And so it's pretty much the same. I haven't worked on this since I leveled up, so. But you can see I have Joan in here and Kagasuchi, so my attack is a little bit higher. Vivi kind of balances out because she's a magic monster. She came from an event. Then here's my purple set. So I have Grenier, and then I have Luca. And since Grenier is physical and then Luca is magic, it actually balances it out right there. And then I have my light set, so you already know what this looks like. And then green set, obviously. So, I mean, as an archer, making a green set is going to be the easiest for us, right? So my attack is 9, and then my defense could be better. I just need to get some more Alice gear. Oh, that's another thing. So the gear from the elemental quests, they only give you 12. So remember the spawn gear? Whoops, that's neutral. The spawn gear gives you 20. The elemental gear only gives you 12. So that's something to keep in mind as well. SRs and SSRs aren't really worth it to keep just for the element because it's not that much. So like this is only 5. Whereas, you know, if you just equip a neutral gear, you're going to get 6. So, SSR might be worth it. It's up to you. I don't think it's worth it quite yet, but you know. And this is just my battle set. And then I actually do have, I think this is neutral, yeah. So my Yamato set is pure neutral because it's a neutral quest. So you see, it's just 63 all across. Something else I want to talk about? Right. So also your skills you want to pay attention to as well. So you see in my guild battle, my skills are, I have Etude Snipe, then I have this Diminishing Shot, and I like this a lot because it can curse and psychologically contaminate enemies, and that's a skill that's only going to be worth using on opponents. So guild battle and Coliseum, it's going to be good to use for events and stuff. It's not going to work on monsters, so it's not going to be in any of my other sets. So in my other sets, I just have Quasar Vaults and Deadly Arabesque. Also, when you're doing events and stuff, you basically want to have 2 attacks, Ether Exchange, and then a utility. Like, it's really important, especially for archers, to bring a utility, because our 2 attacks have such low cooldowns. We don't need to bring a 3rd attack. That's not necessary for us. And we don't need to break anything. Like, we rely on others to break things, right? So it's really important for us to do some sort of support. And parties always need at least Mass Refresh or Purify, or sometimes Balance. A lot of people usually bring Mass Refresh, so I actually bring Purify a lot, but Yamato quest specifically needs, I think it's more important to have Mass Refresh, so that's why that's in there. Also in the Yamato, there's Jabberwocky, who has Mirror. So I have this armor that, you know, if I go to like do my attack and then Jabberwocky puts up a mirror, it's not going to affect me so much. So it's really important to keep in mind your skills as well, and what event you're doing, and what's going to help you out. And then for Mobius, so the past Mobius was dark, so I put a light set on. And you see it's 136. I did really well, apparently. Oh, because I have more defense, and then when I leveled up. So I haven't updated this since I leveled up. But yeah, you see for Mobius, you're going to put in a basic attack, and then I have Purify, and then 2 attacks. And then Coliseum, you don't really need EE. I mean, you'll see some people do it, but whatever. You want something that's going to help defend you. You want 1 or 2 things that are going to defend you. So I have this as defense, and then this. You can bring Guard and Heaven's Breath. People are going to target you because you are an archer, so just keep that in mind. And then I have the Reflection Reduction for Coliseum because lots of people throw up mirrors. But you see in most of my other sets, I have magic armor up. So it's really important to keep in mind elements and using the elements to your advantage, and thinking of the events you're going to do, and you know, your guild battle sets and stuff. Yes, sometimes my tongue likes to trip over itself. So that's basically that. That's how you build your archer set. And then also I want to talk about some of these monsters. Sorry, I'm clicking all over the place right now. So Zephy has one move, and that is to get rid of mirrors. And you could be like, oh, but what about his regen? And I'm going to say his regen is trash. No. Just his only job is to take away mirrors. And I don't really use it that much. So he's way in the back. And then if you're like, oh, the spawns aren't giving me good monsters though. Like, there are plenty of good monsters out there that you don't have to, like, be blessed with RNGesus with. And let me show you some of them. So, Taurus is really good because it increases the attack, the physical attack and physical defense, and then it raises your critical hit chance. So, critical hit chance is especially good for archers because then it makes us hit even harder. So he's actually a really good monster to have. Mermaid is really good because she heals and then she mass refreshes. So especially in United Offense quests, like we have Grenier, this guy, going on right now. Like, she's really important to have for these quests, just any United Offense, because the monsters always want to like curse you and stun you and just do whatever they can to you. So she is really good for that. She'll take care of everything for you. And then Carbuncle, who starts off as Kava, he gives you a barrier, and his barrier actually lasts longer than Neja. So, like, when there was a snowman event, and it was really important to have a barrier monster, I actually used Carbuncle more than Neja. Like, you see that I have Neja. I was using Carbuncle because it lasted longer, and it's really important to have a barrier. Sleipnir, who starts off as a unicorn, purifies. So he heals. Like, these are really good monsters. Like, never get rid of them. Always keep them. Sometimes I use them because they're fun to use. I mean, sometimes you'll see people use the Haste Bunny because, you know, sometimes haste is good to use. And then just having a haste monster, if you don't have any planet monsters or whatever, having a haste monster is good. So it doesn't even need to be like a high cost haste monster, just any haste monster. So like I have her, but even like a little Lemmy can help. So okay. So like even this little guy, haste is always good because then, you know, it helps you have cost and be able to uni again really fast as well. And I shouldn't just say just this little Kongming guy, but there's like Gob Gob is a really good normal monster because he doesn't cost a lot. And then of course, if you are worried about your stats aren't that important. You always need to bring at least one monster you can use in quests. You don't really have an excuse to be like, oh, RNGesus hates me. Like, you need to have a Taurus at least, or a Mermaid, or a Kukulon. I don't have Kukulon. Most people have been able to get Kukulon. He's actually really helpful, so you should also bring him. Don't use Quetzalcoatl. He's literally just a stat stick. Alice is very situational. Zephy is definitely situational. Sakuya is there to balance, but again, she came with an event, so we'll see if she comes back or not. But yeah, at least bring one monster that's really going to help you out. Or help your team out, I say. You don't have an excuse to be bringing bad monsters. And also I want to point out my splash set, if you recall, I actually do have this bow gun. Even though I don't use the skills, it's still in there because it's an element. So elements are really important in this game. And I have enough fatal testaments to proc that I figured I can put that in. And it's worked out so far. Elements are really going to help you a lot. Like if you're having a hard time with some levels, and then, you know, as long as it's an element, you'll see if you like build up your element attacks and your defense, you're going to see how much easier it gets. It's really good, you guys. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Now that I made this 35-minute video. I hope I went through everything. And if you have any questions, just ask, okay? Alrighty then. Happy Unison Leaguing. Later.